Several weeks ago, Audible emailed me and told me that everything on my wish list was on sale. Really, Audible? Everything on my wish list is on sale? Actually, it was. And I'm going to tell you about my Audible sale haul today. Hi, my name's Bea. Welcome to my channel, Mama Needs to Read Romance. Romance I got for $2 or $3 a piece on Audible. Let me start this video with a lesson. If you have an Audible subscription, put everything that you might even be potentially interested in on your wish list, because you will get an email letting you know when these things were on sale. In fact, even this morning, and I'm going to throw it in this video, I got 2 books that were on my wish list for 1 credit, which was great. Everything that was on my wish list was indeed on sale. However, not everything was on sale for $2 or $3. Some of it was on sale for like $8 or $10. I only chose the ones that were $2 or $3. I got a lot, and I'm going to be telling you about those today. Just to make things a little interesting, I decided to put these in order based on their Goodreads rating. So we're going to start with the highest one, which is 4.44, and we're going to go to the very lowest one, which was a 3.39. I didn't ever plan to buy a book that was a 3.39. You might be surprised what it is. Is that a shameless attempt to get you to watch all of this video? You bet it is. Anyway, don't listen to me. Although, listen to me. Let's do this. The highest rated book I got was Something Old, Something New by Beverly Jenkins. I have yet to read her, and I have had her on my list for quite some time. I'm excited to try this out. However, I think I probably need to read books 1 and 2 of her series first. This is part of the Blessings series. It's book number 3, and apparently this is all about the wedding of the 2 characters who everyone has come to know and love in the first 2 books. As I said, this is the highest rated book that I nabbed at a 4.44, which is really saying something. You almost never see a book this highly rated. Holy cow, let's talk about the second one. This is a 4.34. It's also Beverly Jenkins, and the book is called Indigo. I've heard this mentioned many a time by some of my favorite booktubers, so I already know that this one is going to be fantastic. It is a heavier book than I'm used to, but I really want to tackle this. This deals with a woman named Hester. She is the leader of an underground railroad who takes in a gentleman who is so badly injured that he is unconscious. I think it's sort of an enemies to lovers. He is actually also someone who helps out in the Underground Railroad. He's from a free family in New Orleans. It sounds like it's going to be full of suspense, full of romance. It really sounds exciting. I want to give this a whirl. This next one is a favorite author of mine, Soraya Wilson, and her book is called Once Upon a Time Travel. It got a 4.27 on Goodreads. It follows Emma. She is in present-day London working at a museum when one night she winds up in a closet, somehow in a historic gown, and wakes up the next morning back in time in the early 1800s. She doesn't know how she got there or how she can get back, but she winds up falling for a gentleman. He is supposed to be setting her up with his brother because she's actually being mistaken for someone else who is of that time. And despite the fact that he's supposed to set her up with his brother, he develops feelings for her. I cannot wait to see what Soraya Wilson does with this time travel book, and the fact that it's a 4.27, I mean, you know it's good. By the way, this book is on Kindle Unlimited, but I really wanted to be able to listen to it too. I just had to get The Friend Zone, which is book 2 in the Game On series by Kristen Callahan. I read the 3rd one as part of my trying sports romance deal based on Christy of Christy Reads a Lot's recommendation. I really thought it was steamy and fun. So when I saw that the 2nd book was on sale, I had to grab it. This follows some of the same characters that you see in the 3rd book. This is about Gray and Ivy. Gray is a football player, and Ivy is the daughter of his PR person, I believe. And she does not want to get involved with anyone who is a client of her dad's, but I don't think she can help it because this guy is super smoking. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be fun, just like the 3rd book, so I'm excited to try out another book in this series. And it got a 4.15 on Goodreads. Another Kristen Callahan came up at a 4.14 on Goodreads. This one's called Fall. It's part of the VIP series, which I have not read yet. This series, I believe, follows rock stars and maybe movie stars, but I'll have to find out. This one in particular is a rock star. The summary was very interesting. They meet over a pint of mint chocolate chip at a supermarket, and he tries to get it away from her, and she kisses him to distract him, and apparently it works. And then it turns out that they're neighbors, so they might have to kiss a couple more times. And she also said that he plays guitar naked, which is just terrible. Just terrible. Anyway, it looks like it's a lot of fun, although she does mention that his darkness matches her own. So maybe it's not all fun and games, but it looks like it's going to be cute and funny, and I am excited. Oh man, does this one sound good. This one is Sabrina Jeffries. I have not read her yet, and I've really been dying to. This book got a 4.13 on Goodreads. It's called A Lady Never Surrenders. It's book 5 of the Hellions of Halstead Hall series. This is a girl, she needs to get married in order to get the money that she's been promised by her deceased parents. Well, she hires a guy, he's a Bow Street runner, to investigate 3 men that she feels would be the perfect guys for the job. I thought initially this was going to be a marriage of convenience, but it turns out I think she's fallen for this Bow Street runner. And I think the feeling might be mutual. However, here's something else too. There's some mysteries uncovered regarding the death of her parents. This looks like it's going to be suspenseful, super interesting, super romantic, and I'm here for it. This next one is one that's on everybody's list. I've heard this title more times than I can count. The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. It's a 4.11 on Goodreads. This is a marriage of convenience, I believe. I've never read it. I've wanted to. I've been told though that Kerrigan Byrne is a little bit dark, so I'm keeping that in mind because I don't really do dark. But I mean, I could try it. Farah needs protection, and Dorian, who is apparently a villain, is willing to give that to her. Maybe she turns him into a reformed man by the end. I think her love might just save him, and I think his love might just save her. And this is actually the first book in the Victorian Rebels series. So this one I've already read, Conquered by a Highlander. I love this book so much. It's book 4 of the Children of the Mist series by Paula Quinn. You may have seen me talk about this before at the very start of my BookTube channel when I was all about Highlander. This book follows Colin McGregor, who I did not like in the first 3 books. I didn't even know if I was going to like this book at all, but everybody was gushing and raving about it, so I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Oh my gosh. Colin has matured at this point to a strong, confident, brave spy. He is infiltrating a castle to try to figure out when these bad guys are going to try to attack his king. And in the meantime, he falls in love with this woman who's sort of there against her will. She has been shoved there because she had a child out of wedlock, and he falls in love with her and her son. And I just loved it. I love the love scenes. I love how brave it is. I thought that the narrator did a super job. I really like her voice. And when I had the chance to own this, I thought, oh man, I'm taking it. Ooh, let me tell you about this one. Tessa Bailey. I've never read this author before, dying to read her. So when I saw this book called Asking for Trouble on the Audible sale, I nabbed it for a couple bucks. It's number 4 in the Line of Duty series. We have Brent and Hayden. Brent is a cop, as it says, and he is very different from Hayden, who likes to throw posh parties. But unfortunately for Brent and Hayden, who don't like one another, their best friends are going to get married. So they're forced together quite a bit. Forced proximity, anyone? They do wind up giving in to their attraction one night, and Brent is certain that he wants it to be forever. However, Hayden is supposed to be marrying the son of another CEO in order to save her father's company. What is she going to do? I can't wait to find out. And this got a 4.08 on Goodreads. Here comes yet another author I have not yet read, have been dying to read, took advantage when I saw this on Audible for sale for a couple bucks. It's the first book in the Scoundrels of St. James series, In Bed with the Devil. It got a 4.04 on Goodreads. It's about Catherine. She is in big trouble, so she needs to make a deal with the Devil Earl. His name is Lucian, and he's got quite a past. Apparently so does she. And as they uncover the layers of the onions that they are, as they peel away the layers of their lives. This is terrible. Apparently the attraction grows stronger, the love grows stronger, but also the danger. So this looks really fun, really good, and I'm excited to try the first in a series, especially by the great Lorraine Heath, who everyone seems to love. This one sounds crazy. It's actually the second one in the same series, The Scoundrels of St. James. It's called Between the Devil and Desire. It's got a 4.02 on Goodreads, which is only 0.02 less than the previous book I just mentioned. So kind of funny. We follow Olivia. She is not going to even associate with this made man, Jack Dodger, the perfect name for someone that was essentially a street urchin. He came from nothing, and now he owns one of the most successful clubs in London. Everybody's talking about him. What's so fascinating to me is apparently there's a duke involved who I suppose dies and leaves everything to Jack, which means now Olivia is stuck with him, and she is not happy about it. But I think that all turns around. So, looks good. And different. Let's head back to Sabrina Jeffries, shall we? This one got a 4.01 on Goodreads. It is, again, the first in a series. Hooray! The Duke's Men. That's the name of the series. This book is actually called What the Duke Desires. We follow our hero and heroine. He is trying to find his long-lost brother who he believed was dead. And apparently, he's going to Paris in the 1800s, which sounds like a lot of fun, with this gal as his pretend bride in order to discover what happened to his brother. So, sounds very interesting. And I want to see what Paris is like in the 1800s. This is one of the ones I grabbed this morning at the 2 titles for 1 credit sale. Phoenix Unbound by Grace Draven. It is the first book in her Fallen Empire series. I'm going to be finishing her Wraith Kings series this month, so I'm really excited to try a new series by Grace Draven. I love her writing, and I cannot wait to jump into this new series. Most of the books in this series got a really high rating, except for the last one, but I'm still excited to try these out. This one got a 4.01 on Goodreads and follows Jeline. She, I think, is a witch, and she comes from a village where they take a woman every year as a sacrifice into this big city. Well, she has somehow evaded death each time, and Azarian, who is a slave in this city, realizes how she's doing it. Well, he's going to blackmail her because he doesn't want to be a slave anymore, and he figures that she can get him out of it. So here is the last of the 4.0 and above books. It's Follow by Tessa Bailey. And in the cover, as you can see, he's helping her clean a ceiling fan or something. I don't know. Kind of a funny picture. Anyway, this is about a woman named Teresa. She is from a gambling den family. So it's like the mafia, and she's trying to get away from it. Well, her brother has been sucked back into all of the craziness. And so she goes to try to help him. Well, in doing so, she encounters a guy who has recently left his life as a very high roller in New York City after he discovers it's all been based on a lie. So he has been traveling around with his Great Dane and has accumulated a ton of followers online, which is, I guess, where the title Follow comes from. So the two of them work together, I believe, to save her brother. It looks very interesting. Here's another book by Kristen Callahan and another hero named Lucian. Who would have thought? This is a 3.99 on Goodreads, and it's called Make It Sweet. I now see why the title is called this, because Lucian is an ex-hockey player turned baker who sends his sweets to her door. She's been going through a hard time because she discovered her boyfriend in bed with someone else. She's a famous actress whose character just got cut, I'm guessing for maybe a soap opera. So she goes to a beautiful estate to sort of lick her wounds in Southern California, which sounds lovely, and meets Lucian, who I suppose is trying to recover himself after a hockey career. I want to do hockey romance in January, so maybe I will fit this in there. I'm excited about that. Okay. Anyway, sorry. This book looks very good, and I'm excited to try it next year. This is the other book I got at the 2-for-1 credit sale on Audible this morning. Can't Help Falling by Cara Bastone. It's the second book in the Forever Yours trilogy. I own the physical copy. If you saw one of my recent hauls, I couldn't believe that I was able to nab it for 75 cents. It sounds really interesting. So Seraphine is a psychic. I don't know if she does that for a living or she just has psychic abilities, but apparently she and Tyler, who is a sports writer, don't get along well together at all. She grew up in the foster care system. She wants to be a foster parent herself, but she feels like he would never understand that. So I don't know if they start to have a relationship and then it peters out because he's not interested in kids. Well, guess what? He ends up having one. He is put in custody of a child. He is completely out of his depth. And who comes to save him but Seraphine? I've never read a book with a single dad before because I already have enough children in my life. They're just everywhere. And I don't really need them in books usually, but I'm excited to try this one out. Another Sabrina Jeffries, The Duke's Men, number 3. This book is called How the Scoundrel Seduces, and it is a 3.98 on Goodreads. I don't understand this. This is going to be weird. So we have Olivia. No, we don't. Investigator Tristan, who was actually mentioned in the last Sabrina Jeffries book I mentioned. He is an investigator and he is looking for a particular gypsy. I think he just looks for gypsies in general. We have Zoe, who is described in the summary as pesky. She also wants to find a particular gypsy, so they go off together to find this gypsy. And maybe they also find love. I'm guessing they do. What a strange book. I got another Sabrina Jeffries. I know you're shocked. This one is part of the Swanley Sisters series. It's number 5, called Married to the Viscount. It got a 3.97 on Goodreads. This one also sounds crazy to me. And there's a missing brother again. Lots of missing brothers in Sabrina Jeffries' books is what I'm starting to figure out. Or just missing people. They gotta find this person. So he's trying to find this person. His name is Spencer, by the way. Apparently Spencer and Abigail got married. And now he's saying, no, we didn't get married, but everybody saw them get married. So he's like, okay, well, we're married, but it's in name only. And she goes, all right, but how about you just kiss me? And then he goes, okay. And then apparently, whoa, it's like a great kiss. But still, they're focusing on finding his brother. So it's going to be this is going to be interesting. Here's another crazy one that I'm absolutely here for. Dear Enemy by Kristen Callahan. Yes, another Kristen Callahan. Can you tell I'm collecting? This one got a 3.96 on Goodreads. Delilah hates Macon. Macon actually used to date her sister like 10 years ago, and apparently her sister ran off with an important heirloom of Macon's. Well, he wants it back. Unfortunately, Delilah can't find it, but she wants to pay him off, and the way she does that is to become his personal chef. So it appears to me that they're going to be making more than just food in this book. That would be making love. I'm trying to be witty. It's not working. I didn't care for the Travis's series by Lisa Kleypas, which was a contemporary series. You know I'm a huge Lisa Kleypas fan if you've seen any of my stuff. And I love historicals. But I really want to tackle her other contemporary series, which is called, I believe, Friday Harbor. I just nabbed this book, which is book 3 of the Friday Harbor series, Dream Lake. It got a 3.94 on Goodreads. I love that this book has a supernatural element to it. We have Alex and Zoe. They are like oil and water, fire and ice. They don't get along, and yet somehow they both end up with this Victorian house that has a ghost in it. The ghost cannot remember why he's there or what unfinished business he has, but apparently Alex and Zoe help him as they help one another and fall in love in this really interesting book. I got this book the other day for 50 cents, and I was excited to grab the Audible copy for a couple bucks. It's called With This Ring by Amanda Quick, and it got a 3.93 on Goodreads. It is the first in the Vanza series. I haven't read Amanda Quick yet, but I've heard fabulous things, and I am beyond excited about the step backs that I've gotten by her recently. They're just gorgeous. This actually looks really, really interesting. We have Leo, who is kind of eccentric, a little odd, and Beatrice, who needs his help. She wants to find some hidden rings because she believes that discovering them will help her uncover the reason for her father's death. Well, they start to work together. They start to fall for one another. However, the problem is there is a bad guy out there in the streets of London who knows about these rings. In looking for the rings, they might be looking for their doom. Da, da, da. So I hope I don't regret this, but I got The Taming of Malcolm Grant by Paula Quinn. It is book 4 in the Highland Heirs series. Every single book in the Highland Heirs series so far has been a miss for me. And I've been so disappointed because I loved her Children of the Mist series so very much. This series follows the kids from the Children of the Mist. This actually looks really good. We have Malcolm Grant, who in the previous books is so sexually, like, he's got like a problem. I think he's just like, he might have an addiction based on what I've seen and the way that he talks. But apparently he's injured and he is nursed back to health by a blind woman, and he falls in love with her. And I cannot wait to see how this unravels. Here's yet another one by Kristen Callahan. Can you tell which authors I had on my wish list? This one's called Outmatched. It got a 3.89 on Goodreads. It's about a society geek, as she calls herself. She is going to get a brand new job, but unfortunately her boss wants her to be settled in order to get that promotion. Well, enter Reese. He's an ex-boxer, and he decides to pretend to be her boyfriend in hopes that this said boss will sponsor his gym. Apparently, though, they do wind up having feelings for each other. It sounds like this one's going to be good. Here's Rain Shadow Road. Here's the second book of the Friday Harbor series by Lisa Kleypas. It got a 3.87 on Goodreads. This book follows Lucy. Her fiance leaves her for her own sister, and she begins a relationship, thank goodness, with someone new. His name is Sam, and he owns a vineyard, and this is set in the beautiful Pacific Northwest area of the United States, which sounds like it's going to be lovely. I'm not sure their romance is, though. Apparently, he starts to have second thoughts, and old patterns are examined. This sounds like it's going to be a very deep look into relationships and the way people form attachments to one another. It's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. I was able to grab a Tessa Dare, but I haven't been able to mention it until just now because this one only got a 3.86 on Goodreads, which isn't terrible. It's the first in the Stud Club series, and it's called One Dance with a Duke. Spencer is a member of the Stud Club. One of my friends is with me, by the way. He's sick today. So the Stud Club is very exclusive. There are only 10 members.
10.
That's right, 10.
Looks white.
Anyway, they're called the Stud Club, I believe, because they're in horse racing and horses, studs, you know, all that. Amelia decides to appeal to him to forgive her brother's debts, and he may fall in love with her in the process. I'm excited to try a new Tessa Dare. I'm really excited to try this out. We have an anthology set in a winter's night. It's called Seduction on a Snowy Night, in fact. The authors are Madeline Hunter, Sabrina Jeffries, and Mary Jo Putney, all of whom I've been excited to try, and I can't wait to see what each of their stories brings in terms of romance and winter magic. This book got a 3.74 on Goodreads. I will definitely be doing this in January or February for a nice cozy winter read. I'm surprised that a Sarah J. Maas book as part of the Court of Thorns and Roses series is only a 3.81 because all the rest of the books are rated so highly. But here we are. The Court of Frost and Starlight is set after the Court of Wings and Ruin, which I still have yet to read. So I was afraid to read the summary because I didn't want it to be a spoiler for what happens in the Court of Wings and Ruin. But I'm still really excited to try out this novella. I own the physical copy and was excited to be able now to listen to it as well. I was able to grab another Tessa Dare. This one only got a 3.74 on Goodreads. This is book 2 of the Wanton Dairymaid trilogy, and it's called Surrender of a Siren. It sounds really good. We have our heroine who wants a fresh start. She poses as a governess in order to board a ship where she meets Gray. He is, I suppose, a sailor perhaps. He falls in love with her art and the lady herself. It sounds like a really good story. Coming in at only 3.53, it's Crystal Cove, the 4th book of 4 in the Friday Harbor series by Lisa Kleypas. I'm still wanting to give this series a try, despite the fact that a lot of these have not been as highly rated. Again, we see a magical element. Justine has had a spell cast on her since the day she was born, where it makes it difficult for her to find love, but I have a feeling she's going to find it. Here it is, the last book, coming in at only 3.39. Ouch! It is called A Lady of Persuasion. Tobias pledges his love to Abigail in a way to get revenge on her brother. What could possibly go wrong? And Isabel, the woman that I've been talking about, she just wants to move up in society, and he's her best way to do it. So I guess this would be a marriage of convenience / revenge. It looks like it's going to be really interesting, especially considering the rating. Well, those were my books. So many to choose from. It'll be hours and hours of fun, and I cannot wait to try them all. Let me know if you have enjoyed any of these books, or if you're planning on trying out any of these authors, series, or titles. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're reading, whether you're physically reading or listening to it on Audible. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.